This is one of, if not the most beautifully crafted piece of art I have ever seen. The amount of detail in the drawings of characters' faces, backgrounds, or long shots is absolutely stunning. The philosophy that this story brings is downright one of my favorite things I have ever read. And keep in mind, I am only 50 chapters into this story. I want to see for myself if Vagabond is a masterpiece as people say it is, and let's just say they might be onto something, man. I had no idea what to expect reading this, but I'll tell you this. I have read it in school, I've read it before going to sleep. Shit, man, I've read it on the toilet. This is Vagabond chapters 1 through 50. Spoiler warnings, of course. I want to talk about my least favorite character so far because, oh my gosh, this dude pisses me off. I have to get this off my chest. Okay, before we start, these names in this story are kind of complicated, so if I butcher them, I am sorry. Matahachi is Takezo's best friend and they grew up in their hometown together. Both of them leave their town because they want to become the greatest and strongest foes they can possibly be. All this sounds pretty good, except Matahachi. Oh boy, this guy does not acquire any level of character development in all these chapters. Let's see what my problem with him is, cause there are quite a bit of things. First, Matahachi left his wife in pursuit of this life. Pretty normal, you would say, right? Except this guy cheats on her within the first couple of chapters. Not only does he cheat on her, but he impersonates his best friend to sleep with this person too. Just absolutely foul behavior. And this is nothing, it gets worse. The following days pass, and these bandits want to kill Takezo and Matahachi for killing their leader. Guess what Matahachi does? He helps his best friend fight off over 20 bandits. No. Instead, he sleeps with the same woman in the woods while his friend is screaming, looking for him, hoping he is still alive while fighting all of these men. Matahachi is in clear range and able to hear Takezo screaming, hoping his friend is alive, but doesn't give a shit and he sleeps with his woman again. Later into the manga, Takezo is fighting disciples in Hosako school, infamous for being one of the best places to learn the best sword techniques that you can. Guess what Matahachi is doing though? Drinking the best sake the school has while his best friend is risking his life in order to become stronger, or at least find out how strong he is and what strength even means. Not only does he drink his sorrows away, which all these sorrows he has, he's done to himself. He ends up burning this prestigious school down, becoming a fugitive on the run for his actions. This right here, folks, is definitely written on purpose. The character of Matahachi is an example of what a weak and cowardly person you should not be. He was disloyal to his wife and best friend, felt sorry for himself committing these acts, and continued to fuck up even more. One of the worst characters I have ever read in fiction. Holy shit, might be worse than fucking Lori from The Walking Dead. Let's see my thoughts on Takezo and his story so far. You see folks, Takezo reminds me of myself, and not in a savage, murdering type of way. Don't call the police on me, please. Years ago, I was very stubborn and narrow-driven because of my surroundings. The people I was talking to and the mindsets that they implemented into me shut me out almost out of everything. I did not accept any other thought processes and let myself dive deeper into something that I thought was right, but inevitably was wrong. At the time, I did not know this was bound to happen, just like Takezo. Takezo is stubborn and so narrow-driven too. He simply kills anyone in his way and believes being able to survive these battles is true strength. And in a way, of course, I mean, he is strong because he is able to experience these near-death situations and survive every time. But this is not the only true strength life has to offer. We find out Takezo's hometown treated him like a savage animal, and his father treated him terribly as well. If I'm not mistaken, Takezo had no mother, and his father even stated that his mother never wanted him. This rough upbringing he had of people saying awful things to him basically molded him into the type of person they said he was. Slowly, he became the strongest in the village, even having the adult men scared of him. He grew into a warrior, and when we first meet him in the story, there is a ferociousness in him that scares all of his opponents instantly. They even call him Demon as he slaughters all these people. And at this point in Takezo's life, he accepts it. In fact, he loves that they call him this because it reinforces the ideas of what others thought of him, so he truly believes he is a demon. He has no friends, no family, and is killing everyone that crosses his path. Then he meets Taokon, a monk that straight up tells Takezo he is the worst person from his home village. Of course, Takezo scoffs at him because he just fought off like 20 warriors and came out on top, but he can't help but think what this weird monk is trying to tell him. Takezo in this part of the story is being hunted down by Matahachi's grandmother. Don't even get me started on her because she is just as bad as her grandson. Holy shit. so he is constantly trying to hide from her. Takezo gets captured by Otsu, Matahachi's wife. She is the only person in this story that is not afraid of Takezo. This should have been Takezo realizing there is actually someone in this world who cares for him, Otsu, but instead he is blinded by anger and rage and loneliness, being angry at Talcon for not killing him. Talcon is like the Uncle Aro in this story, and I wonder if he's related to Takezo or if he knew him, and plus he actually cares for him, which Takezo has never seen that or felt that before in his entire life. Talcon hangs Takezo on this tree and he's up there for a while, but Takezo is forced to reflect upon his life on this tree, and honestly I think he was there for weeks somehow with no food or water and basically doing the rashomon on himself. And of course the grandma comes and is being, I'm not gonna say it. This point of the story is where Takezo realizes a lot about himself. Before this point, he never really questioned himself, his thoughts, or his actions. He was just focused on making a name for himself and killing anyone that came into his path. Takezo screams to Talcon, why does he not give him a warrior's death? But Talcon reverses this statement back to Takezo. He says, what makes you worthy of dying a warrior's death if all you have done is cut people down with your sword? Fathers, brothers, sons, people who had dreams or not, nonetheless, you slaughtered all of them. So why do you deserve a warrior's death? Takezo then gets haunted by all the people he has murdered and slowly starts to realize all the harm he has caused. Even more so, he wonders if this is all he will be able to accomplish in his life. He gets set free from an enemy he was fighting before he got hung, but to be killed by him. I forgot the guy's name. Talcon steps in though, and with a single gaze makes this enemy, this hunter, run instantly. This is pretty crazy because the guy himself said he did not even battle Talcon but lost without even clashing with swords. Talcon takes Takezo to a place where he will die, and Takezo pleads for his life to be taken. Again, Talcon tells Takezo to scream to the world that he's satisfied with his life. If he can't, then is he ready to change? Is he ready to give himself up, his past self of anger and rage, to live on a new life, of accepting people into his life? He thinks to himself why he was even born if all he received was hatred from this world. Takezo, in his blood and tears, asks, does he really deserve to live? He gets released and we see Takezo looks like a new person next to Talcon, ready to pursue a new life. This first arc of Takezo, in my opinion, is absolutely stellar work. We see a young man that has been chewed up and spit out by almost everybody in his life. His father was cruel to him, his mother was not a part of his life at all, and well, even worse, his fucking best friend's supposed to be Matahachi. He tries to make a name for himself and he strives to be strong, but just by killing people. He slaughters them and indulges in these demon comments by people and thrives in it because that's all he's been exposed to. Even when he tries to do good for Matahachi's grandma and Otsu, he gets hunted down. But all it took was one person, someone that was very wise and said one little thing that made Takezo question all his life choices. Why was he born? What makes someone strong? What does he want in life? He tries to think and find answers, but he finds absolutely nothing in himself but darkness. And these are the first steps, in my opinion, to become a stronger person. Takezo reminds me of myself because at some point I realized what I was doing in my life was just not working. I had adopted a new mindset that was very toxic and making my life hell. I cut off people I should not have cut off. I did things I thought were better for myself. In the end, didn't work. I asked myself similar questions. After all I've done, do I really deserve to live and get a second chance? This dilemma here I was caught in really had me stuck for a while, man. My girlfriend, God bless her, she stuck with me and believed in me even when I never did. Others in my life too slowly showed that they still cared for me and that I did deserve a second chance. So when I see Takezo struggling so much internally here, really wondering if he deserves to live, I relate to it so much, and I'm sure many people in this life can too. A lot of us are haunted by our pasts, and this alone will absolutely tear you down like it did with Takezo. But you need to realize that you do deserve more, and you get a second chance to change for the better. Question and learn from your past experiences. Take the positives with you from your past, but leave all that negativity behind. Miyamoto Musashi is born taking his confidence, determination, and raw power to fight powerful foes to become stronger. This is beautiful. we get to witness Musashi for the next chapters fight off powerful foes. He goes in very cocky, sometimes it works out, some moments he questions if he even is strong and wonders what strength is. But being aware and making these questions while he's trying to achieve his goals is brilliant and shows he's already changing. Before, he would just go and start fucking shit up, and now he's actually wondering like, am I good enough? Am I strong enough? Is this guy even strong? What is true strength? He makes all these questions. I want to segment to a part I enjoyed when he wants to fight the Hosen spear technique. This was, oh man, this shit had me reading in class, not giving a fuck what my professor was saying because that man sucks ass at teaching. But anyways, I was like, this is getting good. Musashi has been training and fighting for a good while. There's actually a time skip of 4 years when we see him change as a young man. And I looked it up online because this time skip was kind of weird. You don't know anything that happens in between those 4 years from when we first meet him to when he is born into a new person. And apparently it said that he was studying in jail with Talcon, but don't quote me on that. Apparently he was reading books and learning and studying. A man by the name of Toji is after Musashi because he is interested in fighting a man that he has heard about. And Toji is a savage, just like the one from JJK. And he cuts some guy's hands off, which is pretty fucked up because pretty sure that guy was devoted to fighting and now he can't really fight. We also meet an old man who also senses Musashi's rage and tries to open his mind just like Talcon. This man knows of the Hosen technique and warns Musashi about the second generation master of this technique, making Musashi really question if he is strong. And the guy that he's warning him about looks like the Avatar, literally. Toji finds Musashi outside the temple of the Hosen spear technique and they both begin to brawl, but they're interrupted by Inshun, the second generation master of the spear technique that we were talking about. And man, these chapters, I cannot explain how good they were, and there's a great battle between Musashi and Inshun. Man, I would kill to see this animated, honestly. But the first thing I want to say, the detail and art in these next chapters from 40 to 50 are absurd. When they're fighting, standing still, or when Musashi is actually feeling fear for the first time, it's absolutely brilliant. Especially Inshun too, he doesn't really seem like the guy who has emotions, but when you see him getting into the fight, it makes it even better. This fear really controls Musashi in the fight from the very beginning, and you can see he's terrified. That does not mean that he does not put up a good fight though. What I like about this fight for Musashi is that he finally found a very skillful opponent. Everyone before lost because of his beast and demon-like strength. No one was able to handle such ferocity except Denshiro. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but I'll put a picture up. So when he finally meets someone who is capable and has the abilities, what will Musashi do? He starts swinging and screaming at his opponent, and even Toji from the sidelines notices something is wrong. He sees Musashi as not being himself, or that he may have overestimated his abilities. But then he realizes it's not that he overestimated Musashi's abilities, but that Inshun is levels above both their skills. Toji was supposed to fight the victor of this battle, but he's like, I am leaving because I know Musashi is losing. So he leaves before having to fight the victor because he knows it's going to be Inshun. And Toji asks if Musashi knows he is going to lose his battle. Musashi is trying his best and using unorthodox moves that Inshun has never seen before, but Inshun is able to overcome them each and every single time. Inshun and Musashi are both vigorously wanting to win this fight, and it becomes certain that one of them has to die for it to end. We're on chapter 49, and about 8 of these last chapters was battle, and we see the drawing of Musashi that we have never seen before. He is terrified in this drawing, and it looks like Inshun is going to kill him. The following chapter, we see how Otsu is doing because it's been a while. But then we see Musashi is actually alive, but is covered in bandages all over his body. He has no clue how he got into this old man's home again, the one that warned him of the Hosen technique. And he finds out that the old man is actually the founder of this technique. So Musashi picked up a sidekick before he went to Hosen. His sidekick comes up to him and says he will never train under Musashi anymore because he does not want to learn from someone who runs away from a fight. Immediately, I was like, no fucking way. He would never run from a fight. I believe he would accept his death, but like I said in chapter 49, he had pure fear in his face, and we have never seen that before. So I guess he did run away, because at chapter 50, we have no idea if he runs away or not. I'm assuming the next chapter is when we find out if he actually did. I believe if he actually did run away from this battle, it means that he thinks life is more precious now. I think the past Musashi Takezo, I think he would have wanted to die in that moment. I don't think he would have cared if he died, but now that he has grown a bit and he is learning, he is questioning. He's like, I don't want to die anymore. So he probably did skedaddle and he was like, I want to live, bro. I'm out of here. I think he values life more, which is something that is pretty extreme, because this is a man who would want to fight to kill all the time and accepted his death in those situations, but now he doesn't accept his death. It's a pretty massive change. Vagabond 50 chapters in is way better than I expected. The story has philosophy involved in it, and in my opinion is one of the main reasons it stands out to me. Takezo grows up in a very closed-minded way because he was brought up like this by everyone he was surrounded by. He continues in this rage-inducing ways until someone is able to come along and snap him out of it. But the biggest difference between Musashi and Matahachi is that Musashi questions himself and his actions. He is very harsh on himself, but not to the point where it's a self-pity journey like Matahachi. Matahachi pities himself after the actions he did to himself. If there was other things that were making his life this way, I would give him self-pity. But all the things that he has been doing that are wrong, he's done to himself. Musashi is able to question and learn from others before him, making him move forward. This is already a pretty big deal because he would not listen to anyone back then, so pretty good. And Matahachi says he wants to do all these great things, but falls heavily into pleasures in life like lust and alcohol, and not being disciplined in some type of way. And I mean, this guy's got unlucky so far into the story, and I'm praying he gets railed later on, because he pisses me off just like his grandmother. Don't get me started on her. Musashi is following the path that is harder to take and continue. He would be relying on himself to accomplish it, and the work he puts into it, compared to Matahachi being undisciplined and unable to question himself and actually learn from himself and being honest. But Musashi just got clapped 50 chapters in, so we'll see how it goes from here. Hey guys, so I know this was a pretty long video, and without a doubt, probably one of my favorite stories. Vagabond is just one of those goats for self-growth, philosophy, and more. I just had a lot to say about it. It reminds me of Vinland Saga in many good ways. Vagabond doesn't really tell you what it means, but you have to self-interpret it, when Vinland Saga really just tells you straight up how things are. But I think it's cool seeing that interpretation up to the reader. It makes for a little bit more interesting story, even though I like Vinland Saga. There are many similarities and they're both pretty good. Vinland is a story about forgiveness of oneself and being able to change. And from what I've seen from Vagabond, you could say it's the same thing. Musashi is changing as a different person, and it's always great to see that. But his fucking best friend's slacking, bro. Holy shit. This is definitely going to be one of my longer videos on the channel. Might be my longest one yet. I just really had a lot to say because this story is really good. I'm thinking of the next video for Vagabond. I'll be doing it 150 chapters in, so I have to read 100 chapters. And then we'll see where it goes from there. And it is getting way better. It's already getting way better within like 20 chapters, so I can't wait to see the next chapters and to see what I'm going to be saying about it. I do anime reviews, I do recommendations, I do life lessons from anime, and all things related to anime. If you want to see another anime related to having lessons into it, not as intense as Vagabond, but still lessons nonetheless, watch my latest video here, Zom 100 Bucket List of Dead. Pretty good and really funny, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody, and peace.